I do this for my culture, to let them know what a nigga look like when a nigga in a roaster.
Good morning, everybody. It's For the Culture podcast. Zach is back with us.
Yes.
It's been fun. The last one had
very grateful.
The last one had a lot of good feedback, and a lot of people really watched it because you were saying some stuff with substance. A lot of videos have stuff that catch your eye, but you had stuff that made people stay. So just go ahead and introduce yourself and welcome.
Great Zach Tate, author, America's Most Dangerous author, super screenwriter, gangster guru, street sage, just an elder OG, just doing my part to try to correct the damage that I've done in this world. That's all. One book at a time, one screenplay at a time. Great Zach Tate show, edutainment at its best.
So, Christina, I know you wanted to touch on a topic. You want to introduce it?
So basically, it's a very touchy topic, but we've seen lately there's been a lot of gun violence with our younger generation. How do you feel about that?
My perspective on gun violence, being from the generation where handguns, my generation is the first generation where handgun manufacturers made movies and they paid for movies to influence urban youth. So for us, we were introduced to Uzis, 9mm, Tech 9s, which was the most garbage gun. I'm an advocate for gun ownership, especially in the Black and Latino community. It's very important to me that people understand gun education and history. So historically, this country was founded on violence. Through that violence, any other people besides white Anglo-Saxon Protestant received land. When they received land, I'm not talking about 2 acres, I'm talking about 50, 60 acres was given away across the country due to the small population of white people. They, in essence, gave them future wealth, because land is the one thing we can't reproduce. We can reproduce almost anything else except more space on the earth. So in order to maintain that dominance, they made the amendments where gun ownership was part of their culture. So what I noticed about many white power structure, it trickled down to poor whites where at 10, 12 years old, their kid is taught how to survive off the land. And then in the modern era, it's taught not only how to survive off the land, but any event that we Black people decide to do to us what we did to them, you're going to be prepared. So I support the NRA because guns is not going anywhere, right? People die of medications, people die of car accidents, people die. What are we going to do, take that away? If somebody running around with knives and stab people, what are we going to do? Take knives away? This is why I wrote Whipped Cream or Doodle, to stop the anger to make somebody want to use a weapon. That's what we need to focus on. What I think Blacks and Latinos need to do is start opening gun ranges. Give these kids the opportunity to be in a range, in a box, locked in, using a weapon. Let them see the power of the impact of the weapon. One time I owned 86 guns in my life. One time I used to shoot people. So I understand and equate the madness that comes with it. But when you're hopeless and you feel powerless and you feel like you just don't matter, you know, I did a video on Who's Zach Tate, part 1 and 2. When you feel like you don't matter and you pull that trigger and somebody goes down and the whole community praises you, that attention, fake respect, and fake power already gives you an identity you never had before. And you're willing to throw your life away for identity. Every person, Viktor Frankl has a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And he said, everybody must have something that makes them feel important. So attention makes you feel important. I got a gun, people fear me, important. Now in this era, examples, you have to understand that your generation is being fed all video. That's where you learn, right? You get images like a Suge Knight that could be broke and because of fear be worth $100 million. So somebody looks at that order of operations and say, he can do it, I can do it. I'm gonna be the boogeyman because my life is hopeless. And with $100 million, anything is, I can do anything, I can do everything, you know, so you have to understand that when somebody picks up a gun, it makes them feel that. Also, it's not black kids that's gonna run up in a school. And that's for two reasons. And people will hate me for it, but the truth of the matter is this. We are children of God, we are compassionate people and a forgiving people. That's why we get oppressed as much as we do. We are not running up in a school and just killing randomly a bunch of people unless we are from a white school, identify with white culture, and has been just so whitewashed that we think we can do the same thing. But you don't see us running in schools. Our schools are built like prisons, and we don't shoot people up. Their schools are wide open and they shoot people up. Go figure. So what is my answer for gun control? Education, 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 and accessibility.
I was about to say that. You don't think they should do like screening with certain people before they get a gun?
No, because all these kids that killed everybody with legal guns.
Yeah, but you don't think some people like the kid that shot up Douglas, they were saying something wrong with his mind.
But his gun wasn't illegal.
So do you think they should, before he even, well, yeah.
But do you think...
If listen to this is what we cannot do. I beg this generation that's coming up to not do. Don't complain about the stuff my generation complained about and the generation before. Because you're just complaining, right? So let's face facts. Poor, white, rural people hand their kids assault military-style weapons at 10 years old to learn how to perfect their aim and shoot and be familiar with a gun, right? To protect their family, to go hunt, and whatever comes, to be prepared. Right? That kid generally doesn't run around showing people his gun because everybody got one. When he's showing his gun is at the range or while they're hunting. Same thing applies for black people. It's the same rules, the same laws. You can take your kid to go get a shotgun, a rifle, what have you. It's legal. You can teach him how to shoot at a range after he's 12. Why don't we do that so they understand, I see the power of that weapon, I've learned discipline over that weapon, and I learned not to go run and use that to handle our disputes.
So you don't think we should be teaching our kids how to shoot under 12? 12 is the age limit?
No, my fear for under 12 is I saw a tape where a daughter killed her father, a young white girl, had a machine gun, and it just...
She had no control.
And she turned and killed her father. So I said to myself, you know, they do it at 6 years old. They prime their kids for violence, right? So I think 12 is when you start understanding, I like kid things, but I got some adult responsibilities. And this is a responsibility over life and death. Let me start understanding that. And there's a lot across the country. There are many African-American gun ranges, gun clubs, all that. We just don't hear about it because they don't want that. We can have gun control in America once blacks start using guns in a certain manner. If it was a black person that did what they did in Texas at that rock concert, you would see a whole different conversation about guns.
Okay.
Yeah, but with, you said that you like support NRA and everything.
Yes.
But like, if we got rid of guns, you don't feel that anger could be used in like another outlet? There's kickboxing, there's other activities, there's programs that people could create for people who have mentally unstable minds or whatever. Why does it have to be guns that they resort to?
No, I'm not saying that they should resort to guns.
Or like gun ranges, like if they feel so
because the fact of the matter is, Dick's Sporting Goods sells 86 gun safes. The safe holds 86 guns. One of their best sellers. So if one person, why does one person need 86 guns? But what I'm telling you is, rich and poor white men will have complete anarchy in this country before you talk about taking away their weapons. They pay for them, it's theirs. You're not gonna come in here. They showed it over and over. Waco, Texas, they showed militias, standoffs. You're not gonna take their guns. So let's face the facts. That's the reality.
It's gonna be here.
It's part of our culture. What we need to change is the narrative in the hood, that in your hopelessness, in your anger, in your depression, you don't have to kill another man when you have a dispute with him. And that's through education. No, I'm not advocating that. But when you sell a video game, this is why these cops is killing blacks. Because they are primed with video games. It's not a real person to them. It's not until a person is dead and you see the funeral that you go, this is real. I know that for a fact. I know the before and after. He's alive, he's dead. Oh, wow. This is real life. So I'm not advocating that all the kids in the world go run out. I'm saying if your child shows interest in using a weapon, you find a gun under your child's mattress, right? Send them to a range. Get them educated. Get them involved to know the impact of before and after and how precious life is. When you kill a person, you're not killing just that person. You know, we use extensions. You seen the mother? You're killing the mother.
You're killing the family. Everybody was close.
You see the father? You're killing the father. You see that's irreparable. You understand? I understand this firsthand, how one death impacts a whole family, a whole culture, a whole generation. This is what kids need to be educated on. They need to understand, I'm putting this power in your hand. Like my sons, here's the power, is in your hand. There's 14 shots in that gun. You have the ability to remove 14 families with that. You sure you want to shoot that or aim that at somebody? Don't look and see a person. When you fire that, see a family and over 100 different law enforcement agencies coming for you if you use this improperly. That is the education our kids need to have.
I was listening to a cop on Instagram Live, and she was talking about the gun violence, and she was saying, cops are trained to kill. They're not trained to like this. Yeah, to not that. They're not trained to like disable the person or something. They're trained to kill the person on the spot. So do you feel like they should be getting training for that too, or?
We would need probably 2-hour podcast for me to talk about police, but that is an institution I thoroughly despise because of the collusion. Mm-hmm. Whatever he does, I have to support, even if I'm completely against it, in order to maintain my pension and my lifestyle. One more time. Whatever he does, no matter how despicable, foul, disrespectful, illegal it is, I have to condone it to maintain my lifestyle, my quality of life, and my pension.
Just to take care of your family too.
Right, my whole life.
Yeah.
So if I talk against what he did, we both know it's illegal for you to ask people for their identification. It's illegal for you to escalate when they say no. The law says I don't have to produce this unless you have maintained first reasonable suspicion, then probable cause, then go through the process of making an arrest because there's a complaint or there was a violation of the law. Just because I'm talking back to you and threatening your so-called authority, because you have no authority. If you snap his neck and put his gun in his mouth and pop his head off, he has no authority. He's another human being who's very afraid. They have the hardest job in the world, right? Mm-hmm. But are they trained to kill? Nah. If the first guy that killed somebody, they would have gave him the death penalty and took his badge and his pension, everybody would start reprogramming. How? But the system is not designed that way because blacks and Latinos who are on the juries of these police officers move from a decision of fear. I'm not going to cast this guilty verdict because I don't want the police department mad at me. Mm-hmm. When we say this is the biggest gang in the world, we have to acknowledge that. It's the biggest gang. And this is gang warfare. And there's no other way to do it. But who do you call when 911 is doing the drive-by?
Your car gets stolen, who do you call?
Who do you call? But if you're at war with the police, who you gonna call? Because citizens are too afraid. When they in the jury and the judges, it goes all the way up to the judge. The judge, when they do a malpractice, should be able to be sued and held accountable. But this institution can change when you set an example out of one. But unfortunately, we don't protest like that. We don't show up at his house, right? We don't beat the shit out of his son when he killed our son. We don't give that. We just go, oh, we shall overcome, and no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. We call PayPal Sharpton and Messi Jackson to come over and try to fix the situation instead of saying, look, guys, this is what's the deal. We are pushing back in a way that is going to make your pension, your retirement, your livelihood, your lifestyle at risk. Come to work every day is going to be very difficult because you're going to see 100 of us walking down the street with AK-47s, and it's legal. Now the fear is going to be turned way up. Because here's the key to police shooting over 300 unarmed people. Everybody that shot back made it in the precinct alive. Everybody got murdered was unarmed. Just that simple.
So if you take away guns, you think the murders police would probably go up?
No, I don't want you to take away guns.
I'm saying if.
It's never going to happen.
Well,
so why are we talking about it?
A lot of times I see on like social media, they say like Australia has very few gun violence.
Oh yeah, because
they have guns.
They have control over guns. They don't
So,
take over.
Right.
Can you make a case that taking away guns will solve that problem?
Well, taking away guns from the police solve
No, not from the police.
from all people.
Just like, yeah.
We just gonna remove all guns, kill all gun industries, and we just gonna live
like
in America.
Like Australia does. 'Cause they-
After the Civil War happens, because people gonna not want to take it, or what? All right, let's
I'm
go to
saying
fantasy land.
hypothetical.
Let's go. No, that's not hypothetical. Let's go to fantasy land. You remove all guns, right? Okay, crime. How do you stop crime?
Me personally, I think you stop crime by putting money to different places where there's no poverty.
Another fantasy.
That's what I'm saying. So
So
I think crime
there are
happens
5
because-
families that have enough wealth combined as all African Americans and Latinos combined. Let me say that one more time because nobody want to be questioned. I'm going to just repeat it for you. 5 families, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, one other person, right? You put all our money on the table, we have more money than every single black and Latino person put together.
That's crazy.
In America, right? So the disparity is this far apart. It is clear poverty makes them wealthy, right? So you're suggesting these people give up their wealth, their mentality, their culture, their history, their traditions, just because we want to make the world a better place. No, America's a business. It is your job to make as much money as possible, to form an LLC or a corporation as young as you can, to live through that LLC and incorporation. Your car is registered to your business, your house is registered to your business, everything you put your money to is to bring you back more money, and take that money and go to another country and develop that so you can be king there. Let's stop doing the fantasy, right? Or when we start making real money, Puffy, Jay-Z, give me another Negro that got a bunch of money, Oprah, they're supposed to say, we are buying this whole community.
That's a good idea. I was thinking.
Because it is an investment. It's just the management of it. For you to manage that is going to be a serious job to manage your own people. And you have to have a passion for your people to do that. their passion is not there like that. Their passion is for some money and some power.
That's the thing. It's like if for a business sense, that's not probably gonna make you a bigger profit. Like a lot of people,
Of course it would. Why wouldn't
a lot of
it? It's
people in
real estate.
music go to pop because they have an audience that's gonna buy the music instead of staying in their community because they feel like that's not gonna make as much money as the pop lane. So just like you talk about Jay-Z, Diddy, all those guys, they rather broaden their audience. That way they can make more money than stick here and then develop this and make it their own.
Well, the dynamics of the way things are set up is just more advantageous to make. It is a business.
And they have the money. They have more money.
Right,
Like numbers.
but let's not get into business to not make money. It's a business. What we do is we get caught up in the art part and we forget this is a business. Also, sometimes pop comes to you, you don't have to go pop. Because if you really think about the biggest selling music, it's from us, by us, talking about exterminating us.
Sold to the white folks.
Right, it became pop.
Yeah.
So we didn't run around saying we want to be pop. They turned and said we want to be black. Every time we put this CD or the stream on, we have the chance to be black without dealing with the repercussions. So I get the best of both worlds. I get to visit your world through your art, but I'm not giving up my privilege. So if I'm going to be in the record business, which I'm actually putting out a hip hop EP because I'm fed up with this garbage, right? And anybody can do it, right?
Yeah.
So my job is to get that in everybody's hands to make more money, to get more power and influence so I can express more art, right? So what is unpopular, like mumble rap, right, is became popular. So it's not always you making an effort. So Jay-Z, Puffy, Diddy, they have a business, they are businessmen. It's just that black people is not their business. Poor people is not their business. And we can never equate that when they say I'm unapologetically black. To me, it's just a gimmick for their business because they know who has more disposable income and who does more spending than anybody in the world is African Americans and Latinos in America. They buy, they spend money they don't have on things they don't need to impress people they don't know. So how are we going to feed off of them? I'm not going to try to change it. I'm going to eat off of them. I'm going to be worth $1 billion. I'm still not going to have any power. And then when I get old, maybe I'll do something then.
Like, to your point, like, even LeVar Ball, he's in that lane of staying in his culture and making as much money as he can.
For now.
Because he has his own brand.
Yeah.
He's making a junior basketball league. And then he's basically taking the NBA and the NCAA out of it and keeping it in his own community.
And Ice Cube.
And Ice Cube as well.
Let's mention Ice Cube as well.
And Ice Cube's been doing it for years in film. So...
Well, Big Three specifically.
Yeah, but he's always been that way. Just stay here in that lane. My opinion is, I feel like we should just develop our colleges, like HBCUs, like all people that have like influence and money should like combine and just like build the colleges. That way, everything stays in the community.
In-house.
Yeah, instead of having these 5-star recruits go to Alabama, Florida, because a lot of times if you go to these colleges, there's the football players and then everybody else is white. So what's the point of going there when you could just stay here, get a big time coach to stay there, put some money, rebuild the college, and then make a profit off it because people are going to watch.
Well, I on the Great Zach Tate show, I did a whole show on the NFL, right? And I gave a whole blueprint to everybody with wealth how to create their own football league, right? So we have the influence just through entertainment, right? Tonight at this game, Kendrick Lamar is performing. Everybody is going to show up, right? Then you start off with the washed up superstar players to come play. And then you start getting the prime players to come play. The entertainment, we are putting on a Super Bowl every game. Just from that alone, we got a pre-show, we got a halftime show, and we got an after party. Negroes will flock to watch that football league just to be able to say, look at me in first row with Gucci on. Why Puff and Jay and let me be very clear to the world. There are many extremely wealthy African Americans out there, Latinos out there, and we don't know their names. They cut the checks for Puffy and Jay-Z. It's just too fearful to have Whitey against me.
Because when you do a business like that, you need sponsors. So partnerships.
We got all the sponsors. You got all the sponsors you need because of the performances that we give.
I mean, they could boycott. They don't need
Who?
Pepsi.
Pepsi will kiss your ass tomorrow because they sell soda to black people. See, this is the problem. We keep thinking America has some values for the people. No. America is a business, bro. Don't think of it as nothing different. And our job is to form and create ourselves as a business. Write off as much as we can write off. Get grants, get like a business does for yourself. Because America is what we make it, not what the media makes it.
So you think that the NFL players, because I don't know if you heard, they said that everybody have to stand up now.
Yeah, forced patriotism.
Yeah, pretty much. So
Yeah.
do you feel like everybody should just boycott the NFL and just go, somebody should go create their own league and go towards that, or?
So for me, the knee is just stupid.
Him, Colin Kaepernick just kneeling, or no?
The whole knee conversation, I have evolved in my thinking.
So what do you think they should be doing?
How does the knee stop people from killing people?
It brings
awareness. That's what they're trying to do.
So people are not.
They don't know all the time. People don't know by now. People don't know.
But sometimes they don't understand.
They don't understand.
They don't care to understand.
Which is why we bring awareness.
You can't make anybody care. And you sure as hell can't force nobody to get understanding. In order to achieve understanding, there must first come knowledge. If you are committed to ignorance, how are you going to get knowledge? Racism is a commitment to ignorance. You believe Donald Trump? For real? You are committed to your ignorance because your ignorance gives you white privilege. White privilege allows you not to have to bust your ass in the labor realm and still have wealth. White privilege allows you to never have to get a driver's license. You could drive 15 years without a driver's license and don't get a ticket with white privilege. Oh man, officer, I left my wallet at home. I apologize. You know, if you could just let me go this time. And they run that same line for 15 years. And the cop goes, okay, white woman. You know, my brother is a cop. He works over here, and she'll run that. They're not trying to get rid of that. Whatever y'all issues over there, black people, that's y'all issues.
You know, it's funny that you say that. I'll listen to the girl that was talking about, because she used to be a cop, and she was like, just like I said, she said that they're trained to kill. She was like, they're pretty much programmed to look for black Africans.
Of course.
They're not. She said it's very rare. You'll probably get a couple white folks and they'll stop and stuff like that. But they're programmed to. There's a black African driving down the street.
Right. It's the perk. Why? Because in warfare, you have to see your enemy as less than a person. The media does that. Hip hop does that. Every time we say nigga, we do that. Nigga.
I disagree.
We don't say black man. We don't say king.
You gotta think
We don't
about,
say Lord. We don't
where
say
niggas come
God. When we joined, we used to be in a circle and everybody's testing everybody's wisdom. That's where the word cipher come from. Because back from the 70s all the way to probably mid-90s, you'll see groups of blacks in a big circle building. Peace, God. How you see today's mathematics? Today is the second, right? Mm-hmm. In mathematics, that's wisdom, right? So you would say, I see today mathematics being wisdom. What is wisdom? Now you give the lessons and your personal perspective of wisdom. Wisdom is a compound word of wise dome. You got to be wise to feed the dome. In order to be wise and you have the dome, you manifest wisdom. All right, that's peace, God. Now, if I went around and I start saying peace, God, which I'm going to start doing as a Christian.
I heard that from Nas.
Right? You're going to hear from Nas, Rakim, Busta Rhymes, Jay-Z, who put the universal flag in diamonds and gold, but quickly took it off because part of the lessons used to say white people were devils. It wasn't that all whites were devils, it's just that the most devilistic actions we have seen on this planet, the color of that person has been pale. Well, there is no color actually. So if I start saying if we start walking around and instead of saying, yo, right, my nigga, you saying, peace, God, what's up, God, how you?
So you don't like the word nigga then?
No, but at the same time, I'm not going to be one of these old busters saying, hey, young man, you need to stop using that. I'll give y'all generation. I'll let y'all do y'all thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be one of the people saying, yo, that's crazy. What are they listening to? That sounds ridiculous. That's for them old. No. But every generation got to have their self-expression.
Doesn't nigga come from a Latin term? It's not necessarily like people.
It doesn't matter. What is associated with is killing your whole family for fun. Because we see you less than a human being, which our original argument is it brings you back to why police officers are trained to kill you. When they get their training tapes, is one of they good little nigga police officers dressed up like a thug, and that's what they get programmed. Oh. When they get trained on Grand Theft Auto, they don't see black man, they don't see a guard, they don't see Lord, they see, oh, it's a nigga, I could kill him, what's gonna happen? They're gonna protest, we're gonna be alright. Hey, go home, you're gonna get paid leave for a month. So you get a free ticket because you killed somebody, you get paid for a month for doing no work at home. What? I need to hurry up and go kill me a nigga then. But if it was, yo, he's a god. Psalm 82, and ye are all gods. If we treated each other like gods, peace, queen. How you doing, queen? How you doing today? The dynamics of how we interact with each other automatically change from the language. Then they have to recognize this as something else. Damn. So what happened at our age, it was, we need to push this NWA. Because this positive culture rap stuff, nigga, 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 nigga. Roll up on a nigga, blow his head off. Yeah. Push that shit. And the whole hip hop industry changed. And since y'all been growing up, since y'all were babies, y'all been hearing nigga, nigga, nigga in music. I'ma kill a nigga. I wrote this in We the Blacks. You ever hear somebody say, yo, what up, cracker? Yo, that's my cracker. You don't hear white people doing that. You don't hear Spanish people say, what's up, spick?
But those are negative terms. Nigga is not.
Nigga is beyond negative, bro.
It was
They
hijacked.
you.
It was hijacked, but the origin of the term is not negative. Just cracker is the origin of the term cracker is negative. Origin of the term spick is negative. The origin of the term nigga is not. It's been hijacked. It was nigger, then it's nigga.
We
negro.
never gave ourselves that name.
But it was never negative.
It was turned into demoralizing.
It was turned into, but we hijacked it into a endearment term.
It is not an endearment term. It's not an endearment term when you're saying I'm gonna roll up. I'm waiting for that nigga to pull up so I can kill him.
That's the way you're saying it. I said, yo, what's good, my nigga?
Right. Okay. But the majority. Okay, let's go back. Since you brought it up, right? The terminology was made by other people to describe the original man. Do you understand what I just said? You heard what I said, but do you understand what I just said?
Yeah, the original man, which
Who's
is
the
probably a
original man?
dark-skinned person.
Right. There ain't no Native Americans, bro. Go pick up We the Blacks. I'm going to have to bring y'all some copies. There is no Native Americans. These are Africans. But you can't name them Africans because you implying they have some pride. They come from somewhere. So you leave them to America, which was not named America. The original inhabitants of this land didn't name it America. Americanos, Rasputin, whatever, came and gave this land this name. The Mexicans got cousins and uncles that look just like you. Don't get into this TV mindset. So when other people, when we control the world, when the Moorish Empire control everything, when technically we are all the Moors in some sense, but due to the influence of power internationally, right? They said, these other people said, oh, we're going to name them the dark people. So the Latin terms, what you are saying is, this is the evolution of the word, right?
Just like negro.
So now, accept the evolution of the word being to the point where it has been equated with destruction. At the very least, acknowledge and say, in my lifetime, since I was born up to now, I've only known this word used mostly in this fashion. And it's to not big you up. Because we don't walk to other whites and say, what up, my nigga?
Kinda do.
Some of them do. And that's sad.
Everybody's a nigga.
But historically, I'm not.
Well, I'm saying
Historically.
everybody like, yo,
No,
I
like-
like nigga, or you feel me? She's my nigga.
Well, the real original niggas is whites, if you go by definition of the word.
There is no.
I was just about to ask you, what's the definition to nigga to you?
A niggerly behavior is one who is acting in complete ignorance.
Okay, and what's your definition of nigga?
It comes from the origin, which is dark person.
And that's a shame.
It's not a shame.
It
was hijacked. It was hijacked again.
It's a travesty, right? All right, let me talk a little slow. White people.
ER. That's
No, don't do it, please, God.
Wait,
You understand
honestly,
what
I feel.
He
I feel
said-
like-
He understands it, but he don't agree with it.
You're saying
Yeah.
that if I take your name and I change it, that changes you.
No. So listen.
Wait. If I take your name and I change a letter, does that change you?
That changes the word. Just like you have.
But does that change you? If your name is Cleveland
It doesn't change you.
and I take the D off and I just leave it at the end and call you Cleveland, does that change you?
No.
Okay, so you're saying nigga, right? Where they said,
Come from Negro.
where they said, as you, a black man, in a time of industrial slavery, produce a plantation of your own for your family to grow, to develop and turn into something and change the world. And they said, those is nigga land, take it. And they lynched your whole family, and Wilbur's 16th birthday was to inherit your land because you were a nigger. You're saying, in the modern era, it ain't an ER because some ignorant nigger got on TV and said, we don't use it with the ER, we put the A on it and it means something different.
Just like they
Nigga,
took the
please.
Negro and they made it nigger. It's a different. Just like you said, it doesn't change it. It's still the same word. They just use it in a different context. So we're changing it again, using it in another different context.
And that context has demonstrated over and over in the music that is used in a derogatory way
you can make that case.
to aid to the destruction of the people where no other race has a nickname towards the destruction of themselves. This is why the word nigger has, nigga, has a bad taste in people's mouth that are older. Because we could, with the same effort, with the same breath, call you God.
True.
And I dare the most holiest Christian to come out and have a problem with it. Because this is the least of your problems. Because
Nah,
you know,
I agree with that.
that's another show. 'Cause I'm going to declare war on a Christian church as a Christian when I get some money.
I agree with that. I'm just saying, in context, I think you could change through time. Words change.
I know what you're
In
saying.
context.
You're saying evolution
But-
over and make it positive.
But the evolution of a people has not changed.
So you're saying
We've been oppressed consistently from your generation, we're not that far removed from slavery. You know that, right?
Nah, that's true.
You can find some people
Yeah.
that remember when they aunties and uncles were slaves. It ain't been that long. So please don't think 100 years is a long time. It's a lifetime. One
I feel
person.
like it's still going on.
Of course, the oppression is still there, and the word is attached to that expression, and it's still allowed for people to see you less than, thus equate you as being an enemy, thus having no compassion or mercy when they pull out their gun and shoot you in the back and kill you, and you ain't got no gun or pose no threat, because they see you as a nigga. You don't respect yourself, why am I gonna respect you? That's what the judicial system has said. You want to sag, wear your pants out, show the world your drawers, you don't respect me.
I have a problem with that.
So, I'm not going to respect you.
I don't
Pants sagging is some homo shit.
No, you can say whatever you want about pants sagging.
Right.
But you don't say that when white people have like all these cuts and you feel me, they wearing tight pants and all
Gauge
that.
White people
So, they don't
have
respect
the
themselves
privilege.
That's what he says. White call white privilege.
They have the luxury to have an identity crisis.
Okay.
In part, psychological child development and behaviorism is one where we must find and attach an identity. What we do at teenage and adolescent years, what makes adolescence so frustrating, is you can move like an adult, but you don't know how to take care of yourself like an adult. So what you do to show your whole school body, I am different. I deserve your acknowledgement and validation. Look at me. I'm different because I do this. Right? Is you create an image. That image is based off of self-deception. The lies you tell yourself. And the games you play. Things we do to amuse ourselves. So you start telling yourself, I'm this dude based on, because you really want to be Jay-Z. So you dress like Jay-Z, you talk like Jay-Z, you pick up his identity because you don't have your own. The difference is, you're not going to be killed. White people ain't going to be killed for having a bag of Skittles and a hood on when they having that identity crisis. You can't afford that. Because the perception of who you are will determine your life or death and your prison sentence. You are always under suspicion. Why give people something to make you more suspicious?
So you feel like just because of white privilege, you're not allowed to be expressive in your own way in America?
I'm saying that self-expression in America is frowned upon by black men.
You should have
Kanye West
right?
demonstrated self-expression. Some people embraced it, and some people said, yo, this Negro done lost his mind.
Well, Kanye was birthed from self-expression. This is why he's one of my favorites, because he's always been the person that says, I'm going to do this, this is who I am. You may have this, think of me a certain way, but this is who I am.
You know why?
And that's why he's a genius.
You know why? He was birthed into black privilege. His black privilege, which we don't like to acknowledge, is his parents are professors. African studies professors. So what they implement into him is the genius you see him manifested today. He had a privilege to go, because we got your back. Go ahead, go out there and stumble, because we have your back. You want to leave college and go do music? Go ahead, because we got your back. Got two parents right here that's going to hold you down. That's a privilege. It's a shame to say having a father at home is a privilege, but it is what it is, man. Let's face some facts. So with that privilege, this is why Andy and little Wilbur could go out there and get yellow hair and tattoo their face and do what they want to do, because Uncle Jesse owns the company that's going to give them a job to give them $100,000 when they decide to get their act together. Go home, cut that hair off, go get them tattoos removed, and I got a job that you can take care of your family forever. We don't have that privilege.
It follows us.
You understand? Stamp them, lock them up, put them away forever. How you going to sit in front of a jury and say you're not guilty? That you are innocent until proven guilty with tattoos all over your face? People don't go to prison based on innocence or guilt. People go to prison based on perception, value, influence, or lack thereof. If I am somebody that has been known to be upstanding in my community and I'm incarcerated, I get arrested, community leaders show up and tell the judge, not him. The judge forms a new perception. Based on your conduct in that courtroom and outside that courtroom will determine your fate. So you telling me, you look in the mirror, see nigga, sag, dress, look like you don't value yourself. Nobody's gonna come forward. Who gives a fuck about you? I'll give you 30 years. They give us 30 years. They give us federal system. Look what they do. For drugs alone. He ain't kill nobody. Or we gonna give you 3 life sentences plus 100 years. How the fuck I'm gonna do 100 years after I did 3 life sentences? My sentence is over when I die. How do you give a human being, how do you feel content to issue such punishment? There was never any repercussions, that's why.
Yeah.
Nobody shows up to the judge house. It's beyond me why when they protest, they're not at the judge. So July 21st, South Florida Book Fair. I will be there. I will be selling books, signing autographs, kissing babies, meeting the people, and just really trying to push. My new book is dropping this month. I'll be debuting it at the book fair. It's called Lovely Addiction. It's about one of my most reoccurring characters. Her name is Troy Yancey. She's a lawyer, dreadlocks, and she's a trooper. But she has an addiction to vibrators and things of that nature and feels that she doesn't need men anymore. And life kind of changes. Real life is real. So that novel was action-packed, erotic, and a lot of lessons about relationships and men. So we'll be debuting that, but I'm really trying to, I'm striving for 2 million copies of Whipped Cream or Doodle to be sold, because we not only need to stop suicide prevention, we need to do homicide prevention as well. We need to get rid of a lot of aggression. People are angry because they're not embracing the whipped cream of life. They just dealing with the shit. So, Great Zach Tate, all forms of social media, Great Zach Tate. I'm here, Gangster Guru, Street Sage, here to provide some fruit to feed people to get some nourishment and better themselves while trying to better myself.